Acon claims that every black American could be a millionaire if they started investing in Africa today. This may sound like hyperbole, but the reality is he might be right. More people than ever are making a fortune by investing in Africa, to the point every major African city seems to be littered with luxury cars, mansions, and yachts. But there's a bit of nuance you should be aware of, so let's talk about it. First, the backstory. Acon has been telling everyone from the diaspora who will listen that they should be moving their financial capital and talents away from the Western world and onto the continent. Whether they are an athlete, businessman, engineer, or singer, he believes if you have African ancestry, you should be using those talents to benefit Africa, not the West. The idea is that by taking the collective effort of the diaspora, which currently supports Western economies, and redirecting that effort into developing Africa, that it will supercharge the African economic system, which would create a systemic change in how wealth is distributed on the world stage. In this regard, I believe Acon's point is valid. Where the online controversy stems from is the actual investment vehicle Acon is putting his weight behind. Acon is developing a new concept city in Africa, which he named Acon City. It's supposed to be a fully planned community with industry, education, and its own financial ecosystem. On the website, it shows a futuristic-looking city that wouldn't be out of place in the next Wakanda film. But when you start to see flash and pizzazz over substance and balance sheets, it's reasonable to start to look at any proposed investment with a more critical eye. The sheer ambition of the Acon City project certainly caught attention, but after delays related to the worldwide shutdown of 2020, many investors became worried. Investors are fickle creatures, particularly in Africa, and if too many of them get spooked and pool their money, it could destroy an otherwise good project in a financial cash crunch. So I can't say definitively how good Acon's investment is or whether it's legitimate. I would be happy to take the time to speak with their team and review their financials before saying anything conclusively. Because Acon City could be the next great development, or Acon City could also get in over its head very quickly and lose investors billions of dollars, but how would you tell the difference? In my opinion, the key to safely investing is to do your own due diligence. Forget about the beautiful computer renditions of a development and look at the raw data. If you can't get that data, then run. Also, get on the ground and see the investments for yourself before investing. And most importantly, network with others who have already done business and made investments in Africa. This is why we host African investment mixers here at our Washington, D.C. office. We learn from each other's experiences, we get recommendations for the best African businesses to partner with, and by having a regular event where current and prospective African investors can network, we are able to exchange ideas and create a community of like-minded business people. If you are interested in joining us, our next event will be on September 15th at 6:30 p.m. RSVP on Eventbrite or send an email to our team at info@roarsteam.com. My team and I would love to meet with you and learn about your experiences. But I want to know what you guys think. Do you think Acon is right about the diaspora moving their talents back to Africa? What concerns do you have about investing in Africa? Let me know in the comments below. And as always, if this video provided value to you, give us a like and a follow. That really helps out our channel, and we'll see you on the next video, or maybe we'll see you here in Washington, D.C. Take care, guys.
Why living in Africa is better than living in America. First, cost of living. Look, the dollar is useless in America, but outside of America, it goes very, very far. Number two, ease of life. You don't have to be living in a small hut in a remote village when you're coming in Africa to live a peaceful, more simple life. You can be in a buzzing metropolis and you'll still find the majority of people don't believe in stress. They believe everything is going to work itself out without you having to worry about it. Food. Food in the continent of Africa is fresher, it's less GMOs, and even the produce foods have a lot less harmful ingredients within them. And it tastes like real food and not lab-grown.
Sense of belonging. It is amazing being in a place where everybody looks like you. You're never the only black person, and it is just a beautiful and encouraging experience. Two, safety. Many of the countries in Africa, I'm in Tanzania, are significantly safer than the United States when you check the rankings, and you never have to worry about any sort of racist anti-black violence against you. Three, challenging white supremacy. It is a game changer when you can show that it is possible to thrive in the world outside of westernized systems. Four, learning from African perspectives and experiences. So much of what we see, even those of us who call ourselves very pro-black, are still very westernized when we're from the Western world. When you move to Africa, you get to actually learn the indigenous ways of being from the continent. And 5, learning to love yourself as a black person in deeper and more powerful ways. So much of what we get, again, living in the West, we're brainwashed to believe that blackness is less than and that we have to fight to show and prove our value and worth. When you are in Africa, it is just evidence and it is just a normal part of living life. Amazing and peaceful to the spirit. Look, I acknowledge that it is not easy for everybody and the finances and all the details, logistics. Look, I know, I get it. But for those of you who are able to dream, to be able to build the game plan, figure out new ways of being, I encourage you, put it on your list to at least.
Right, welcome back again to the channel. I am the African Streamline. Thanks for coming and thanks for always being here. Now, I'm sad to inform you that I might not be showing you the video or the face for maybe some 2-3 days because of unavoidable circumstances. But thanks for always coming. You know, some hindrance will come, but the truth is that I won't fail to giving you episodes because for the sake of some really good fans, yeah, fans who are faithful, trustworthy, they've always been here and supporting me, yeah, regardless. You know, sometimes I go through my channel and I find out that there are many fans who will always be here. It doesn't matter. They will always be here and they will always be waiting for me to post and then they can be able to watch. So for me also to try and say like the way, like just a way of appreciating them, I must be able to try and at least make episodes regardless of what is happening. I might be even in the hospital bed, but don't worry, I must try and make a video for you. It's just some little hindrance. Health wise, I'm not very much okay, but I'm trying as much as possible to make episodes for you so that you don't be in darkness. Thank you for coming and thank you for always being here. You're my good people. You pray for me to see me soon. Thank you. Now, this video is for the people, for the African Americans who we have always asked them to come back to Africa. Those who have always wanted to come back to Africa, because you know, some of them, the many a times those who are calling themselves the foundational black Americans, they're saying, you know, America is home, we don't want to go back to Africa and all that. And we say to some point, yeah, it's fine, because it's a matter of deciding and people have got their own decisions. Some of them will say, me, I'm not going back to Africa because of this and this. They have got their own reason. And we said, we respect everybody's decision. If somebody wants to come, well and good. If somebody doesn't want to come, well and good. My happiness is that it's a few number of people, like a few of them who does not want to come. But many of them, the African Americans, say home is Africa is home. That is where we want to come and we must come there. Some of them even do not have the capability to be able to come back, but they're praying and saying one day God will help them to come back to Africa. And those are the ones I am addressing today. Okay? So I felt like it will be unfair if we can just be asking the African Americans to come back to Africa or calling them back home and we don't inform them, we don't give them the clear pictures of how they're going to live and how they're going to survive in Africa, okay? Because, you know, many of them, maybe some of them would be asking themselves, you know, we are going back to Africa, or we've been called to go back to Africa. We are being told about going back to Africa. But the question is, are we going to thrive in Africa? Or what are we supposed to do? Okay, they must know what they are going to supposed to do to thrive in Africa or to live better in Africa. Okay, again, we must give them an assurance that when they finally come back to Africa, they are going to live better. They are going to find, or the life they are expecting to live in Africa is what they will live in Africa. So also challenges and the things they need to consider, we must also be able to tell them if at all we are being true and we are being, let me say, clear with our videos and all that. Not telling them what is not there and not actually giving them information that is not actually there. And therefore, this video is purposely made for the African Americans who want to come back to Africa. Now, maybe you're asking yourself, will I thrive in Africa? This video belongs to you. Number one, I will talk about social and psychological factors. I will also talk about economic opportunities. I will talk about political and social influence. I will talk about challenges to consider, because you also need to consider some challenges. Of course, everything does not just go smooth, and that way. There must be challenges you need to consider. So when I talk about that, you'll prepare yourself for that. And I will also talk about why you might thrive more in Africa compared to how you might thrive in America. Okay, so thanks for coming and thanks for watching. As you're watching these videos that I'm going to play for you, prepare your thoughts and have them shared with me on the comment section. I will really appreciate. Okay, now I'm going to ask you to subscribe this channel if maybe you're watching me for the first time, and for the returning subscribers, I really do appreciate.
I'm here because I've been to the castles and I saw the door of no return. And I realized that my ancestors must have made the statement that we will be back. And I am that wish, that dream, the return back to my home. Even though I've been away for a while, I'm here now.
I'm going to highlight 4 companies in Africa that I know of. The first company I'll highlight is Papaye, which is a fast food joint in Ghana, Accra. Papaye makes a revenue about $8 million a year. Mind you, $8 million, but its net worth is about $150 million. The second company that I want to talk about is called Maxmart, which can be found in Accra, Ghana. Maxmart is owned by a Lebanese family. Gross revenue was $76 million. The third company that I'm going to highlight is Melcom. Melcom started, I believe, in 1999, and it is owned by an Indian family. Their gross revenue was $350 million. The last company that I'm going to talk about is ShopRite. This last company, ShopRite, that I'm talking about is also like a Walmart, and they grossed about $11 billion last year.
People in West Africa are starting to live better than people in the Western world. Now, I'm not talking about everybody, but I'm talking about if you're well-to-do, if you're doing pretty good in your life, it's better to be doing really well in Africa than it is to be in America. Now, I'm currently in America, and it's like a little bit of a culture shock coming back from Africa, because when you come here, you're around people who, on paper, they're very successful, rich, and all that. But all these people are drowning in debt. They got a nice car, but they don't own it. They've got a lease on it. They may say that they own a house, but they kind of do, but they have a huge mortgage on it. But in Africa, people own everything outright. And what does this lead to, like, in day-to-day life? Well, when you know someone who's well-to-do in Africa, they're a lot more relaxed. They feel like they can go on trips with you. They're a lot more generous. People here, even though they may have a lot of money on paper in America, the second they let their foot off the gas, the second they stop hustling, those bills will catch up on them really quick. And it shows, like, kind of why I feel West Africa is the future, because here people are putting up an appearance of being rich, well-to-do, but it's fueled by debt, and it's fueled by them working 2 jobs. Husband and wife are both working high-paying jobs, 50 hours a week each, and doing all of that to just create this facade. Whereas in West Africa, once these guys have made it, they're living good lives. They're having that balance in life, and they're not killing themselves. So I think long-term, who am I betting on? I'm betting on the lifestyle of West Africa.
Western media loves portraying Africa as a place that is hopelessly impoverished and always prone to conflict. And while there are certainly issues, I believe that Africa is the future. Let me explain. The first thing you have to understand is just how many Africans there are. 30 years ago, there was roughly as many people living in Europe as there was in Africa. But now there are now 3 times as many Africans compared to Europe. In 20 years, there will actually be 4 times as many. What this means economically is that the average African only needs an economic output that's 1/4 of that of a European in order for the African economy to be larger than Europe. And I think this is super impressive, especially given the disgusting role that Europe has played in Africa through colonization and empire. It's beautiful to see Africa having the potential to overtake Europe. The second thing you also need to understand is for a long time period, it was really just the Western countries that were able to dominate the world economically, politically, and through empire. But now in the last 20 years, we've seen the rise of many economies such as China, India, Russia, Turkey, etc. And what this means is all these countries are competing against each other. And if an African state doesn't like the West, they can just kick them out and bring in a different country in. And if they don't like that country, they can kick them out and bring another country in. So unsurprisingly, for instance, we're actually seeing a number of African countries that are, cutting off relations with European powers and even evicting their military. And because of this, you have to understand that the third factor I want to talk about is we're now at a point where a lot of the fastest growing countries economically in the world are in Africa. According to the most recent figures for this year, 6 of the fastest growing economies are now in that continent. And while I know there's certainly many issues in many other countries in Africa, it's very inspiring to see this happen. We saw this previously with Asia, and that continues to a partial degree with, of course, the rise of China. And we could be very soon seeing that also in Africa as well. But the fourth, and I think the most important thing, is while there's all these factors going on, nothing can be achieved without the will of the people. And certainly we're seeing in Africa a bunch of revolutions are happening that is leading to the kicking out of European imperialists and the collective will of African people. In Burkina Faso, Niger, and Mali, there have been revolutions where now the revolutionaries hold control. They are, for instance, creating factories, growth, economic opportunities for the common people, no longer just serving the foreign powers. And this is really what's going to take off Africa, is if that happens, then it's completely unstoppable. Thank you so much. I hope you enjoyed this video. Go check out some of my other stuff. I do a lot of stuff on African geography and politics, and I hope you enjoyed this. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Thanks.
Africa is the only way out. It's the golden and it's the holy grail for your freedom. Like, if Americans, African Americans specifically, don't see that investing in Africa changes everything for you, I mean, all the way down to generational wealth. Like, Africa's in a position where if African Americans take position now, you guys, every single African American in America would be a millionaire without even thinking twice, because there's nothing that's not needed over there. So you guys come with the discipline, you come with the knowledge, you come with the resources, and then what you've created just for developing America. Nothing can happen really in America without us. Just think about everything that creates so much revenue for America, from sports to entertainment to fashion to medicine. I mean, you name it. We're leading in every single sector, like us. Just imagine if we all just decided to just take all our bags, withdrew all our money, and go to Africa. Where would America be today? It would collapse overnight. Because nothing. Like, all of our athletes can go create their own teams. Who do you think they're gonna watch? They're gonna watch all of black professional athletes playing in Africa, or they're gonna watch the white professional athletes playing in America?
Now, let me start with social and psychological factors. Freedom from racism, that is number one. In Africa, in America, African Americans face systematic racism, discrimination in jobs, housing, policing, and education. In Africa, they may feel a greater sense of belonging, dignity, and majority identity, okay? Because when they've been to America, they've really faced a lot of discrimination, a lot of racism in jobs, a lot of racism in housing, policing, and education, in that white Americans would be given the first priority, regardless of the qualification, regardless of how African Americans, they've proven themselves to be the people who deserve the first priority. But because of racism, discrimination in many things, they would be preferred last, and some of them might not even be given the priority or be given satisfaction to how they're supposed to be given. And that is one thing they've really faced in America. When they come to Africa, I think they may feel a greater sense of belonging, dignity, and majority identity. Okay? Number two, we have cultural connection. Many African Americans feel disconnected from their ancestral roots. Living in Africa can bring a sense of cultural wholeness, pride, and let me say maybe healing. Yeah, because what they've been lacking for a very long time or for quite some time, they might now feel possessing it once again. When African Americans were taken from the land, they were denied a lot of things. Many things were denied from them, the culture and very many things. So the life they're living in America is not the life they were supposed to be living. They're living a life that is forced to them. And when they come back to Africa, they, let me say, might be come back and begin feeling the same thing they've lost for many years. Number two, we have economic opportunities. On economic opportunities, we have growing markets. Africa has some of the world's fastest growing economies. African Americans with skills, business ideas, or global connection may find more space to grow business than in crowded US markets. Okay, so the crowded US markets have made it, and you know, when it comes to the crowded US markets, even where there is opportunities, you'll find out that the white Americans will always be given the first priority because of the color, and therefore feeling like African Americans or black people do not need to be given first priority or do not need to be considered first compared to the white Americans, feeling like white Americans deserves more privilege compared to the black Americans. Okay, so even if there is spaces in the crowded US markets, the spaces will first be given to the white Americans compared to the black Americans. Okay, we have also cost of living. In many African countries, the cost of living is lower, so the US dollar or business investments can stretch further. Okay, when they come back to Africa with the US dollar, they're going to find life somehow easier compared to to America. Now, you find out that somebody might be earning maybe, let me say, $300, and you find out that costs of living or buying things, items in America is very high. Okay, the jobs, again, they're not given to them many a times. They have to struggle by themselves, create jobs, opportunities by themselves. The small money they get in America can make them thrive and live better in Africa compared to how they are living in America. We have an untapped potential. Africa still has many untapped industries like technology industries, tourism, agriculture, where African Americans could thrive as pioneers. Why am I saying could thrive as pioneers? Because we've seen many African Americans being inventors, though the white Americans or the history has been maybe they have really hid the history so that people from all over the world will not consider African Americans or black people as inventors. But the truth of the matter is that black people have invented a lot of things, and if black people can be such massive inventors, it means when they come to Africa, they can even do better, because in Africa nobody will put them under the bus, nobody will make them, or nobody will maybe put down their potential or close their potential. They will do whatever they are doing and become greater pioneers and even get into the global world. Okay. Number 3, we have political and social influence. Majority status in the US, African Americans are about 13% of the population, often politically sidelined. In Africa, they would be among the majority population, meaning less marginalization. Okay, so even in terms of politics or political wise, the governments that are in power, they just consider black Americans as minority, of which maybe it's true they are minority, but now it makes them get forgotten. Or even if the politics or politicians or the governments want to try and consider the or maybe look at the black Americans, how they're going to help them, or how they share resources, they feel like we need to share it at a lower rate to the black Americans because they are the minorities. Okay, so the people will put on the front line should be the white Americans, okay, and give them the first priority and give the bigger portion to them. But the African Americans, because they are few and they are really contributing less for us becoming in power and all that, we must give them less. And that is how it has always happened. When they come back to Africa, I think that one will not happen, because you will not be able to differentiate between an African American and an African. We all look the same, and they will look the same. So even if it's about sharing wealth and all that, it will be shared equal to everybody. And that is one of the greatest advantage they might have when they come back to Africa. Number two, under political and social influence, we have leadership opportunities. Some African nations openly welcome diaspora returners, even offering dual citizenship or investment incentives. We believe in African Americans. That's one thing I can tell you. Anytime an African American is spotted in Africa, we believe in them and we feel like, oh my God, somebody has come or somebody is here. We always believe they are better in terms of a lot of things. We always believe they can work things out better. They can be the biggest. They can be the greatest. I can tell you that for a fact. We always believe that. I'm telling you. Because we think them living in first world countries or in the so-called first world countries, they have a lot of experience, okay? And that is why many countries, especially Ghana, when they are welcoming African Americans in their country, you will see them feeling like and saying, when these people come to Africa, they are coming with a lot of opportunities. They are coming with a lot of intelligence, and they can even be able to provide and bring out many things that can make a lot of us prosper, yeah, because they have ideas, they have let me say skills and all that. When they become leaders, they can bring a new face in leadership that can even shake the Western countries. And that is why many Western countries do not want the African Americans to come back to Africa, because they know what African Americans are capable of. Okay, so when these people come back to Africa, when African Americans come back to Africa, number one, they can even be placed in the world of leadership, because many African countries believe in African Americans. Now, what are the challenges to consider? Because, of course, everything that is good has got something that is a little bit shaky, and that is one thing I would love to consider. I can't just be speaking of the good things. I also need to prepare my fellow brothers and sisters in terms of this. Number one, we have adjustment struggles. Moving to Africa ain't automatically easy. Different cultures, infrastructure, challenges, bureaucracy, and sometimes corruption can be barriers. Okay? Of course, these are things we've been seeing around, the things to do with corruption and all that. But at the end of the day, they must just come, because maybe even they are the people who are going to put an end to this. Number two, we have economic gaps. Not all African countries are booming. Some have unemployment instability or poverty issues that make survival tough. But African Americans coming to these countries, they might be the problem solver to these problems, because where there is unemployment, they can create employments. Where there is instability in terms of work and jobs, they can put an end to that. Number three, we have identity clash. African Americans may face cultural differences with locals who see them as outsiders, at least at first, because it won't continue for a very long time. That is one thing with Africans, and that is a good thing. It might be there maybe for 2 months, 3 months, but at the end of the day, it will come to an end. Many of the African Americans who have come back to Africa, they've been witnesses for that. Okay, why they might thrive more? In America, and often blocked by systematic inequality, generational poverty, and racial bias. In Africa, despite challenges, they may find room to rise higher, a stronger sense of identity, and more freedom to create wealth and influence. So African Americans might thrive in Africa because they would operate in a space where they are not defined as minority, have access to growing opportunities, and can reconnect with culture and land ownership that were historically denied in America. So I think it is better for the African Americans to come back home. They've gone through a lot of things in a foreign land. A time has come when they should not listen to the leaders of the foreign land. They should not listen to the lies that those people will continue telling them, and come back home. We welcome them back home. And it is my prayer to see them coming back home every other moment. Tell me what you think in the comment section.